Ladies and gentlemen, fellas, welcome back to the channel and happy National Zip a Day. Zip that shit up right there. Let's get into the top 10 schmacks on a lovely, I think the smallest slate we have left. Oh my God, these next 2 weeks of the NBA are going to be, they're going to pop my motherfucking head off. But the number 6 or the number 10 play on the slate, on this 6-game slate as we go right now, it's going to be a stud, a man you love, Karl Anthony Towns. And Karl Anthony Towns, there is some worry here, right? There is some worry about Karl Anthony Towns because we now have D'Angelo Russell back. You saw last time out with D'Angelo Russell back, only 5 assists. The games before that, only 2 and 3 assists. When D'Angelo Russell was out and not playing as much, 6, 5 assists, 7, 8. So the assist percentage is definitely going to be dropping with Karl Anthony Towns since D'Angelo Russell is back. But the price point has also dropped. During those days, he was $10,900 and $10,800. This is now right around the cheapest price point he's been. He was $10,000 last time out. He's now $10,100 against the Golden State team that is throwing Kevon Looney out there at best at the center position. And they have, this is pretty important, a 114.75 team implied total today is one of the highest out of the 12 teams on this 6-game slate. I have Karl Anthony Towns today projected for 34 minutes and 1.44 fantasy points per minute. It gives Karl Anthony Towns a projection for me for 53.36 points and makes him our number 10 play on the slate today. Now, since it is a smaller slate, I already have the projections already done. They're about to be on Patreon before you even know it. Before this video even goes up, they'll be on Patreon today. So the projections are done, but there is a lot of injury news even for a 6-game slate. Now, these top 10 plays are my top 10 yeses on the slate. There are some other guys ranked ahead of Karl Anthony Towns and some of the other names I'm going to say. I'm just not as secure about them because either they have a low projection or not as stable minutes, and those guys will be listed as maybes in the projection sheet on Patreon, which you can check out linked down below. So now we get into the rest of the top 10 plays today. There'll be no live stream today. Your boy right now I'm recording at 5 a.m. In about 6 hours, we'll be hopping on a plane. We'll be heading down to South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. Gonna be hanging out there until Monday morning and then leaving from there. So there's not gonna be any live streams until Monday unless you want to hit me up on Periscope. I'll probably do a Periscope live stream to Twitter for the NFL draft and things along those lines. Like, subscribe, do those things. The live stream later today, the second episode of Life Update with my girlfriend and I's brand new podcast, Smacking You in the Face. A lot of people liked it last time out. See episode 1 if you have not. That's releasing tomorrow morning. And for now, we'll get into the rest of the top 10 plays on the slate with the number 9 play, another stud right here, and it's going to be Steph Curry. Look, Kelly Oubre is doubtful today. Steph Curry has been averaging just a ridiculous 1.48 fantasy points per minute on the season. I think that's ridiculous because he's shooting, already a historic shooter, already the best shooter of all time, is shooting historically this season as well and breaking records. I'm only giving him 1.44 fantasy points per minute today, but I can comfortably give him his season per average of 34 minutes, making him look like a very sound play on the opposite side of this Minnesota game where they're actually 5-point favorites. So I already told you that Karl Anthony Towns has an insane 114.75, maybe not insane, but very good team implied total. Golden State has a very high 119.75, so expect a lot of points in this game. Again, Kelly Oubre is doubtful today. You get the high assist percentage, obviously all the threes. I currently early on in the day have Steph Curry projected for 55.11 points, about a point and a half more than Karl Anthony Towns. We head over to the double box that gives you the number 8 play in the slate, and that is D'Angelo Russell, and we're heading to this game again because it is the second highest and very close to being tied for the highest team implied total on the slate and game implied total with a 235 total today. $6,700 D'Angelo Russell is a very fair price point for a guy who I comfortably believe is a low to mid $7,000 price player based on the minute that he's currently getting and the production that we know to expect out of the last couple of years of D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell has now played 29 or more minutes in 4 straight games, topping 30 or more minutes in 2 of those games, and he has produced 39, 33, 53, and 31 fantasy points during those times. So last time out wasn't as great, but he shot 5 of 17, only 29%. D'Angelo Russell is going to shoot better than 29% in the season. He's going to be shooting closer to 50+%. So with D'Angelo Russell shooting 5 of 17, what we got to see there was a shot volume. In the last 3 games, 18, 16, and 17 shot attempts. And we also got to see assists yet again. He had 7 assists in that game, as he's going to be somebody who pushes towards a 30% assist rate on this team who has just absolutely no other guard. So D'Angelo Russell's price point continues to increase, $400 since the last time that we saw him, and I do think it's appropriate. If we continue to see this shot volume over 15, and he just gets back to shooting 45 to 55%, D'Angelo Russell is going to be scoring pretty frequently in the mid-30s for you. I have D'Angelo Russell today for 35.96 points, making him our number 8 play on the slate in this very nice game environment spot. Now, before we get into the number 7 play on the slate today, I want to let you know about the sponsor of the L program, and that is PrizePicks. And PrizePicks already has 8 props up in the morning. What is it? You just very quickly and easily can take the over-under on fantasy points, the over-under on certain props like, rebounds, assists, points, 3-pointers, things along those lines. And what PrizePicks is just quite simply that. You take the over-under on them, you pair a couple together, and bam, you win some dollar riskies. Now, they have 8 in the morning for the NBA. You can take some stuff for over-unders on season long for rookies. They just released that one, which is a pretty interesting way. I'm going to wait till the NFL draft goes and try and get some nice value as it goes in the first day or two potentially. But there's 8 props in the morning and more come out throughout the day. Now, early on today, I'm taking the under on Christian Wood 44. There's no John Wall out there. I understand that, but Kelly Olynyk has been playing very, very well, and it's actually taking away from Christian Wood. Wood today for me projects out for around 40 points. It's a 4-point difference. Get the under on Christian Wood. And then Karl Anthony Towns over 52. I just told you where I have Karl Anthony Towns. I got him for close to 54 points today. I'll take the over there on Karl Anthony Towns in this very nice game environment against the Golden State team that we just broke down. Has no absolute center at all. So I'm taking the over on Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, the under on Mr. Christian Woody Johnson Wood. And if you want to follow this, you can do this as well, or take some other props if you'd like. There's more that release in the afternoon. You just use the code SAL. Again, my name, very simple. SAL. Use the code SAL. You use the link in the description below. So SAL, link in the description below. They will give you a double your money bonus up to $100. So free money, basically. If you put in $20, they'll give you an extra 20. Now you have 40. You put in 50, now you got an extra 50. You have 100, all the way up to $100 whiskies if you're a heavy hitter, a king, pin, a head, honcho. So check it all out. I highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun, and the community seems to be having fun with it. And then, you know, you have your sweats and you 2 or 3 losing days in a row with it. We're on a 2-day winning streak after having one of the worst days I've ever had in DFS, playing on Prize Picks and DraftKings 3 days ago, getting cleaned out everywhere. So we're doing well now. We're doing well now. So let's get into the number 7 play in the slate today, and that number 7 play is going to be Saddiq Bey. So I have to let you know about Detroit. Detroit does not have Corey Joseph today. That's one. Detroit does not have Jeremy Grant today. They do not have Mason Plumlee today. That is a shit ton of minutes in their starting rotation. I mean, arguably, it's definitely around like the 80 to 85 minute, if not 90 minutes into a starting rotation lately. So Saddiq Bey is somebody who normally plays bigger minutes. He's now going to be seeing 34 minutes. I have him at today, and also a fantasy point per minute production boost. So if we pull up that double box right here, you can say that Saddiq Bey plays the 4th most minutes with those 3 fellas off the court this season, and he averages a very impressive 0.88 fantasy points per minute. Now, if you compare that to some stud players, you're going to say that's not that impressive. But for Saddiq Bey, that is impressive because we know he gets big minutes. So if I can give just very simply that fantasy point per minute projection, you need to put more into this. Just know that there's more layers to a projection than just this. But if we just simply want to make a simple projection of that fantasy point per minute projection and a nice sample of 381 minutes times the 34 minutes he's going to play today, he projects out for me for 30 points. Now, Saddiq Bey personally, because I have to factor in some other things for me, projects out for 26.4, still making him a solid play. I mean, if he projects out for 30 points today, he's going to be one of the number 1 or 2 plays on the slate. So Saddiq Bey at that usage rate, at that increased point per minute production, becomes the number 7 play on the day today. Getting into the top 6 plays on the day, there he is, Kevin Durant. There he is, Kevin Durant. They said his minutes limit was going to increase. I actually was on the live stream literally an hour before the news dropped that his minutes limit was going to increase, and I was saying I don't think they're going to be playing Kevin Durant more than 30 or 32 minutes again until the postseason. And they said, fuck you, Sal, and they played him 33 minutes in that last game, and he scored 45 fantasy points. He has now scored 40 or more fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5 games. He got injured in between one of those games, but it wasn't a big enough setback, and now his price point only comes up $200 since the last time out that we saw him. He only shot 7 times in that game. So he played 33 minutes, only shot 7 times, still scores 45 points. How does he do that? Well, he picks up peripherals in every single area because he's motherfucking Kevin Durant. So Kevin Durant today at $8,500. You might be saying, well, what are the minutes that you have him on today, mister? He's not going to ever play above 30 minutes or 32 minutes again. Well, yeah, now I got him at 31 minutes, and if he was to play 32 or 33, it's obviously better. Kevin Durant, for me today at $8,500, projects out for 47.4 fantasy points, making him the number 6 play in the day, and he comes into a game with the Brooklyn Nets, who frequently are in this position of having the highest team total on the slate of 122.5 team implied total. That means that's what Vegas is projecting them to score today, which is just, I mean, we already told you how good that the Golden State one is, and this is about 3 points higher than that. Durant, the number 6 play in the day. Inside the top 5 to top 5 we go. Indiana today, no Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner, MIA for the very long time. That's where I'm going to be going. MIA, welcome to Miami. But this is a big old booty. Goga Diaz has been questionable for a while. I'm just ruling him out today. I'm tired of putting him in and then taking him out. We're ruling him out today. But even with all that accounted for, I gave Jakar Sampson 26 minutes today. And look, I don't really like playing Jakar Sampson, but there's no doubt that he's actually been producing better this year, and it makes sense since he's playing more center and power forward, and with not as higher producers around him like Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner. So I have right now Jakar Sampson projected for 26 minutes of play, about 0.8 fantasy points per minute is his season average, a decent implied team total, and Jakar Sampson, not really a SuperDraft play at 1.8x multiplier, but Jakar Sampson for me today projects out for 21.79 points, and I actually might be low on him because I'm only giving Jakar Sampson 26 minutes today, when I do think, depending on what happens today with like Jeremy Lamb, although that won't matter too much since he's a big man, power forward center, I do think that Jakar Sampson can play more than that. He's played 27 and 23 minutes in the last 2 games. I do think that if the games stay close and he stays out of foul trouble, he can play 28, but at just 26 minutes of play, he becomes the number 5 play in the slate. Now we go inside the top 5, and we're going right back to Indiana, where you get Mr. Emnon Summer for the Indiana Pacers. And look, they're just disrespecting a lot of these Indiana guys, and I get get it. Maybe some players return today. Even with me projecting in Jeremy Lamb for like 14 minutes of play today, it's Emner Sumner season. A guy who is playing a lot of point guard, but still shooting guard, small forward eligible. So it's like a cheat code right now. Now, the last time out, he only played 20 minutes of play, but that was mainly due to foul trouble. He had 5 personal fouls in that game. He picked up personal fouls early and in the middle of the game, really stunting the amount of minutes he was able to get. Emner Sumner, when he's not getting into foul trouble, has been playing 34 and 37 minutes and looking very good out there. And we could pull up just the screen share right here to show you. Emner Sumner continues to start. So as long as he continues to start, I'm going to give him 30 plus minutes. He continues to start. He plays 10 minutes and a half, 10 and a half minutes, 10 minutes and a half, 10 and a half minutes in the first quarter right here. He picks up a personal foul, and then he comes back in the second quarter, this blue line right here for him, and he picks up another personal foul. So he has 2 personal fouls in the first half, nothing crazy. But what happens in the third quarter? At the start of the third quarter, he picks up his 4th and 5th personal foul after having 2 in the first quarter, 1 in the second quarter, and after picking up his 4th and 5th personal foul, he's only got 1 left to give. He does not check back in, and then the game ends up blowing out. They end up losing by 20, so he does not check back in the fourth quarter. So Emner Sumner was a victim of having 5 personal fouls in 2.5 quarters, basically, and then the game blowing out. Emner Sumner I have for 33 minutes of play today. I have Emner Sumner projecting out as a number 4 overall play at 25.1 fantasy points today. It looks mucho gusto to me. Now, as we get inside the top 4, I'm going to give you the number 3 play, and before we do, we're staying in Indy, by the way. Before we do, and we get back into the double box screen, I want to let you know about Patreon. Patreon today. There's 2 more days left in April, I believe, the 29th and the 30th, if I know how to do math. The 29th and the 30th, you will get for free on Patreon if you stay on for May. So when you sign up today, if you stay on for May, just let me know, hey, I signed up at the end of April. Can you refund me that? You get a full refund. So these are basically just 2 added on days for free. Who doesn't like free? If you stay on with May, there's your little asterisk for that one. But what Patreon is just projections, rankings, tools, ownership for MLB, NBA, PGA, MMA right now, NFL, of course, when that comes around, XFL next year. So if you want to sign up for the year package to get a discount, a bunch of shit. We have lineup optimizers, which a lot of places don't have, and a lot of places, if they do have it, they don't have the ability for you to set groups and rules and randomness and all these uniques and all this other type of shit that's going to help you make more efficient and more winning and higher producing lineups for yourself. Discord access for every single person who's a patron for a bunch of different Discord channels. Get up in the community. The whole goal of this is to reduce your research time, increase your chances of winning in that lovely community. Link down below on Patreon. Check it all out. What you motherfuckers waiting for? The number 3 play in the day, since I'm projecting out Goga Bideas, and if Goga Bideas plays today and we don't have any minutes limit, then he will be on this top 10 list. But the number 3 play in the day is going to be Mr. O'Shea Brissett, who they're just disrespecting. O'Shea Brissett now has not seen a big price hiccup like a lot of people who usually produce like he does. O'Shea Brissett was $3,000 when everybody was out, and he scored 51 points. Great, they made him $4,200. Okay, now everybody's still out. He scores 33 points. Great, they make him $4,800. He scores 26 points. They don't do much. He scores 50 points again at $5,000, and they bump his price by $300. This is a very strong player. This is a player who's seeing massive minutes. 42, 38, 31 in a game that blew out, mind you. He was going to play 36 plus and 40 minutes. I am only, and I say this lightly, but I'm trying not to joke here, I am only projecting Brissett for 34 minutes today if there's no Bideas, but in every single one of these games, since they're down so many bodies, he has been projected to play 36 plus minutes, and in 3 of those 4 games, he did play 36 plus minutes. So at $5,300 today, just on pure minutes alone, not even taking into account that he's averaging a fantasy point per minute, and I'm nerfing that down. I'm nerfing him down to 0.9 because I just don't want him to project out as like the best play of all time here. O'Shea Brissett for me projects out for 30.5 fantasy points. If I give him his average so far fantasy point wise, if I give him 36 minutes of play today, he starts to project out for like 35 fantasy points at just $5,300. Either way, he's a very strong play at $5,300 today in this strong game environment against Brooklyn. As you can see, Indy looks like a very strong value team. They are constantly mispriced by DraftKings. The numero dos play is going to be Frank Jackson. Frank Jackson is going to be on another team that is offering a lot of value today in the Detroit Pistons. And if we go back over to this sheet right here, you can see Frank Jackson plays the 6th most minutes with Jeremy Graham, Mason Plumlee, and Corey Joseph off the court, and he averages a pretty impressive 0.81 fantasy points per minute. Pretty impressive for a guy who normally does not play that much, and I gave him 28 minutes of play today. So if we just make a simple projection off of both of those factors, Frank Jackson starts to project out close to 23 fantasy points for us. I currently, factoring in everything else, have him for 20.3 fantasy points. Now, Frank Jackson is a $3,000 player, $3,500 to be exact, which gives him a lot of upside there. Frank Jackson is not a great assist player. He's just mainly going to get you there based on shot attempts and an increased usage of 21%, which is nice to see. Over 20% usage is a very good number for Frank Jackson. It all comes down to the minutes for Mr. Frank Jackson. I have him again at 28 today with no Corey Joseph. I have him getting more minutes than the Saban Lees. There's still no Dennis Smith Jr.'s out there. I have guys like Diallo staying at 22 minutes. I have Killian Hayes getting decent minutes. He's just not a top 10 yes play for me. Killian Hayes is somebody who's going to be close to being a top 10 yes play for me. He is one of my yeses, but not a top 10. Killian Hayes is a solid play if you're asking where he is, but Frank Jackson at $3,500 for value today is somebody that I think is appealing in this matchup against Dallas. Now, as we get into the top one play in the slate, I'm going to miss everybody. I like doing these live streams. I will not be there. I mean, I'm saying this, I'm going to be back in a couple days, but I'll be back for a live stream on Monday. I'll be on Periscope probably doing some live stuff and some other Twitter content over there, so be sure to check that out. And maybe I'll surprise you on Saturday, Sunday with a video, but content will be coming out later today in the live stream format for MMA. Content will be coming out Friday and then Monday, so keep an eye on it. Like, subscribe, do those things as we get into the numero uno play in the day. The number one, the head honcho, the kingpin. This is a man that you're probably not going to even remember is on playing basketball because he hasn't been out there for a couple days. Kent Bazemore. They said yesterday Kent Bazemore is projected to play and he's projected to start. When Kent Bazemore, and here's the perfect wind of things. Kelly Oubre is doubtful and Kent Bazemore is coming back. Perfect for Kent Bazemore to see higher minutes. When Kelly Oubre was out 2-3 weeks ago and Kent Bazemore was starting, Bazemore was consistently playing 30+ minutes. Then Oubre came back and Kent Bazemore started to play like 26 minutes and wasn't as good of a play. Now Bazemore is returning, and unless they tell us that he's on a minutes limit, I'm going to give him right back to having his 28 to 30 minutes. I gave Kent Bazemore 30 minutes of play today. This is a quality fantasy point per minute producer, definitely above average and a strong game environment. I have Kent Bazemore today as it stands right now for around close to a 0.9 fantasy point per minute producer. I actually nerfed him down to 0.85, and he still projects out as my top play in the day for 25.01 fantasy points at just $3,900. Kent Bazemore also fills one of the weakest positions that he can possibly fill for you, a small forward spot. So assuming that we already got the news yesterday that Kent Bazemore is going to start and Kelly Oubre is doubtful, so we don't have to worry if he's going to start or not. And assuming that he's starting and there's no minutes limit, like they're not going to just put him out there at the start of each quarter for 6 minutes and only give him 24 minutes. Based on the news that he's starting, that gives me confidence without any other news that he's going to play his normal run of 28 to 30+ minutes. I've met 30 minutes. I've met 0.85 fantasy points per minute and over 25, barely over 25 fantasy points today with this lovely team implied total. Kent Bazemore is our number one play on the day today. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, and all you fellas out there. Before you go, like, subscribe, do those things, and sign up for Patreon. You get those 2 free days if you stay on for May. Link down below why you're not taking advantage of the lovely tools, the lovely community, and all that we got to offer over there. Win some dollar riskies. What are you waiting for? For the lights to stay on here, I'd appreciate it if you support the sponsor of the program. And also, I mean, you get a lot of perks with it. You get to win some dollar riskies. You get to have some fun, simplify the way that you play DFS, but also get some double your money, free money bonus on a gaming site right here. Christian Wood on the under 44 for me early on, and Karl Anthony Towns on the over 52. You can use my projections and also anything in the Discord conversation-wise. My man Yeet usually puts some charts in there, and I really appreciate those, and I know everybody else does, to show you exactly based on my projection where the best plays are for Prize Picks. And maybe you stayed all the way through to this video, and if you did, you're in for a little surprise here because I like to plug this one. Lately, I like to only plug it at the end so the people who are loyal actually get the benefits of this one. This is a site called SuperDraft. You might have heard of it. You might have signed up for it already. If you did, fantastic. They actually increased it. We were worried. Their prize pool only went down to 1,000 people or $1,000 and 200 people. Now it's back up to $2,000. They have a 1,000-person contest as well, so it seems like all's back to normal for SuperDraft, so that is very good to see. But this is the thing. This contest, 767 people, it's going to fill at like 65-70% today. It is not going to fill at all. I can guarantee you that it will not fill. And what does that mean? If it fills at 70% today, by entering a lineup, you automatically beat the 30% of the field that it didn't enter. There's no other spot in the world where by entering a contest, you will beat 30% of the field just by signing up. I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous shit. So if you're tuning in right now, I like to push it towards the end so not as many people can see it. Only the loyal people can benefit from this. That means that you have a better chance, a 33% chance than any other DFS site at cashing, at winning $2,000 all the way up top, at placing second, at just minimum cashing than anywhere else. This is a ridiculous offer. I don't know how much longer they're going to stay in business. They might stay in business for 30+ years, right? Or they might stay in business for a month and you can take advantage of this because they're slowly leaking money by doing this. So use the link down below in the description. You get over there. And if you want to deposit any money, once you deposit 25 or more, they'll match you $25 if you use the code SAL when you're making your account. So again, SuperDraft, check it out. There's no other place on the planet that you're going to be getting something like this. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate you all. I'm going to be hopefully having a safe flight down there. And just follow me on Twitter if I do any Periscope live stuff for the NFL draft. You all rock. I'm looking forward to this vacation. I hope you all have a lovely, lovely rest of the week and weekend to all of you. Peace out, gang. Happy National Zip a Day. Zip them up, zip them down with